All right, everybody, good afternoon and welcome on back. Continuing along our Friday, our end of week here. Well, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, guys, welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. There we go. Great to see all of us live in our trading room. Michael, Chuck, Jerry, Mark, H, Jim, William, great to see you guys. And of course, streaming across social media, Facebook and YouTube alike, guys. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. So just to begin, we are doing a more or less lightning round edition, just with class finishing up today. So for all of our students inside our trading room, we are finishing up the Phase 2 stock course, lesson number 4, lined up this afternoon, 3:05 p.m. Eastern time. So, with that in mind, I really would like to just dive right into the scanning. We do see the Dow here just still dropping, or rather, I should say, moving up off the lows, but down on the day still, of course. We ended up calling this out kind of going into the afternoon meeting yesterday, didn't we? We never like to be right in this sense, but we always like to be prepared. So with as much as the Dow is squeezing up just across the last few days prior, these big gaps and runs up, and of course, with what we ended up seeing yesterday, just kind of holding strong, at least going into the mid-afternoon, I was thinking we would end up seeing a bit of a drop off, especially just with what we ended up seeing over the evening, just as far as the executive order across social media, President Trump and Powell also speaking today as well, I believe. So a lot of movement across the markets with that in mind, and at least for what it's worth now, the Dow squeezing up pretty nicely heading into the afternoon, but we'll see how far that lasts. What we'll do, guys, like I'd said, is just go right from top to bottom, just across the percent gainers and losers lists. I'd be remiss to not begin just with the SNOA trade number 1, up still 122%. A lot of these, man, we had a pretty hot morning, didn't we? A bunch of stocks running at once, and if it wasn't just at once, it was like one after another. It was a nice sequence. We were calling out a few here at a time. So let me just switch back to my pre-market charts. We'll recap those very briefly that ended up running nicely, and then, like I said, we do have class, so we'll build up this list pretty quick after. So SNOA to begin, you could just kind of see the way it's moving right now. We're not going to follow this heading into the afternoon, but beautiful pop at least early on in pre-market. I know that Fausto is jumping into this trade early. I think his entry, he told me he was in from like 7-11 here. Oh no, he was around from 12 here, and it ended up squeezing up pretty nicely. The SNOA trade shortly after 7 a.m. Eastern time. Very nice move. And then from that point, shortly after the open, it ended up making a huge pop. I didn't follow this myself. Just typically for a stock that's up that much, you would expect a pullback at 9:30, and if it pops, well, it typically drops right after. So we ended up seeing a pullback. I'll zoom in on the chart very quickly because this was one of the better movers across the morning. But we ended up seeing a lot of shaking around here early on. So ended up popping right out of the gate where we would normally expect a pullback. But here we go. We had our pullback shortly after, and then a few moments where this stock got halted on the way down, on the way up, and ultimately proved to be a nice run up. So for those of us that ended up jumping in, at least when this was breaking back through pre-market resistance around 1450, I'd say that was the best entry, at least going on the way up here. The SNOA trade, though, much like a lot of these small cap stocks, unfortunately, the volume dies off so quick. So, for as grand of a move, as nice of a move as we had up here, we ended up seeing a really sharp drop off a few times here going into the late morning, early afternoon right now. It wouldn't really surprise me to see this fill the gap completely by going into early next week. Let's say like Monday, Tuesday next week. I wouldn't be surprised to see this back down towards $8-7 perhaps. Yeah, for right now, at least we're going to write this one off, the SNOA trade. But nice pop at least early on today. All right, one that, of course, pulling back right now, the ADAP, but one of our better movers as well, at least early on. I was saying 7-11. Fausto jumped into this one as well. This was the one that he had jumped in $7.11 shortly after 8 a.m. Eastern time. I think he picked up like 60, 70 cents at the time. But hey, we keep jumping in if the opportunity is there at least. This ADAP trade, to expect this to run all the way up towards 12 perfectly, 12.35, the pre-market high there at the time, essentially, it's hard to expect. So, we're not trying to hold on the whole way through, but we look to take the profits when we can. And if there's a new opportunity to jump back in, we'll try and do that. This is, again, a very volatile stock coming off of, big news. And we ended up seeing a big spread, very light orders on the ECN book. So it wasn't an easy trade. Steady trend, not necessarily an easy trade. So you have to be in and out fairly quick. I do see from one of our traders here, John S., he says, I don't see the charts. Let me just do a quick reset here in the trading room. Social media, I think you guys should be good there. Let me just do a quick reset on my charts here, guys. Give me probably about 30 seconds. Pat says we see it. It happens just from student to student. It's like a small little glitch with our webinar room. That's all. All right, John, you should be good to go now. So yeah, ADAP nonetheless, though, this ended up pulling back at 9:30, right? For a stock that's up as much as this was, much like I had said, the SNOA trade, we would expect a big pullback. And for this, we did. Here's the thing, though. I don't think this was easy to borrow early on. It ended up being a very nice drop off. It would have been a great short opportunity if one was able to get the shares. I think Andrea was able to get the shares early on in pre-market himself here in the trading room. Nevertheless, for as much of a run up as we had here, now this stock is shortable. It says, at least it doesn't show hard to borrow for those that have trade stations. So, this has been a very nice short. We've been following this, making lower highs going into the afternoon. I believe one of our new students, Abdallah, just mentioned, a nice drop off on this ADAP trade. So, it's been a nice short thus far this afternoon. Now, for what it's worth right now, this is right at major support at $10. Not much on the bid currently, 10,000 shares, but you would expect a lot more coming off of just, a big whole number like that, $10. So that certainly for right now will be treated as a major support level. If I'm not mistaken, also, I also believe the opening bell print from this morning is also right around that $10 price. So yeah, this ADAP trade either way provides great opportunity if it ends up holding support, making a higher low and running back up, or if it ends up crapping out the other way, like I always like to say here, it would be a really good opportunity to try and short once further. So certainly we'll put this on our watch list going into the afternoon, this ADAP. PHIO, I was looking for a bounce on this trade. Again, up big in pre-market, ran up very nicely. So this was like the third one early on that we were catching and trading, but ended up pulling back much like I'd expected it to. I was looking for a bounce on this trade. It was right off of 370. I ended up taking a small loss on this one, and I'm still interested in this trade too. I mean, you could see it just ultimately bounced off of $3.50, 50-cent level. So, I don't mind putting this just on the side, coming back to this just once we finish up through everything else. But yeah, I mean, this still provides good opportunity for as much as it's ran up in pre-market. Well, we expected a pullback, and here we are. But it's still trading a lot of volume per minute right now, and tight spread, a lot of volume on the order books. So, I feel like if this could break above 370 and hold, better over that price like it was trying to at 2 o'clock Eastern time, we could see this make a nice return, nice run back up. So, I'll come back to this at the end of the end of the meeting here. All right, esports stock, GMBL, esports entertainment. I mean, this has been one of the stars, the market open at least. Shortly after 9:30, this thing just exploded, and we ended up catching this, of course, pretty early on. Took this off of 6 early on, up towards 650, but from there, this squeezed up much higher. So, as you could see, the pattern's pretty clear. Higher lows across the whole day, leading up to a higher high at major resistance for right now at $9. Let's just scroll through the tape. I'll zoom in on the charts pretty quickly here, guys. So 9. So yeah, you could see a lot of volume filled at 2:29 Eastern time, 2:30. I would say 890, not even a whole lot around there. There's the prints at 9. Those add up certainly. So that's where I would say, major resistance off of 9. At least it goes to show you have some buying, already coming in off that price. So perhaps if we end up seeing this retest the level, we'll see the, the break that we're looking for. So definitely GMBL will put, on our list, hoping that we end up getting that break off 9. Let me zoom back out here. Each. I mean, I'm trading some volume right now, just off the break from 115, but I mean, I guess a squeeze up early on this morning. I say I guess because I didn't follow that really. Came back down and I guess just stalled out from there, so I'm going to pass. All right, you know what? Let me get the scanner just a little out there more. All right, so let's see what else do we have here, guys. MBRV. I thought I saw this pop earlier. Nice run. Yep, here we are. So ended up breaking out shortly after 1 p.m., as you could see from 105, 103. I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls back there, but if we end up seeing it hold where it is here and moving up towards that 120, that's the setup, so to say. 120, also 125. There's about 55,000 shares on the ask. So for right now, I'll put this on our list. MBRV. I'd say, more of like a level 1, level 2 stock, probably at most. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I'll put this near the bottom of our list too. I hope to find, a better opportunity, at least aside from this. I feel like this might be a bit too slow, but nice trend, nice recent pop. So hopefully it gets a little bit faster, more volatile once we, if we end up seeing the next break. else do we have here? DGLY, old friend here, DGLY. I used to trade this years back. Kind of wacky chart here for right now. We're going to pass. I mean, nice little pop earlier from 85 up to $1. DVAX, I saw this called out earlier. Pop, a little bit of a pump and dump, it seems like here. The stock is shortable. If it ends up going the other way, it's just in a tight range, pretty slow. Resistance at 6. So that would be a good setup to kind of think about there. But I think for right now, I'm going to keep this on the back burner. Ooh, saw the call out right here from Ben. Yeah, GAN. I mean, this thing's got a little bit of a spread. I'd say this is probably more of like a level 3, level 4 stock in terms of volatility. Nice run up though so far. New IPO? Yeah. New IPO. All right. No data before May 5th. So all-time highs. That's pretty cool. I'll take it. GAN. We'll put this on our list. Like I had said, though, just a bit of a spread, lighter orders on the books. So, I'd probably categorize this more of like a level 3 to 4 stock at least. All right. What else do we have here? Party. Oh, I think I skipped over that too. Oh, yeah. All right. A couple other familiar names here. AIM, AIM. Finally, this thing seems to be, squeezing up, so to say. For as much as it's dropped, it's made a nice recovery. So, yeah, I guess I'll put this on our list. We were watching this early on in pre-market. We had this on our morning watch list. It was a bit of a dud. I'm not going to let that kind of get in the way, though, because, like I just said, this thing is moving up nicely. It's slow. It's steady. This used to be a pretty volatile stock. I mean, like a week or two ago, this thing was all over the place. Last month and a half, rather, I should say. Yeah, this thing is known to make a huge move for us in the past. So I hope that we end up catching that at least going into the afternoon. 285 double top high of the day with the pre-market there also. $3. You have a 10,000 share order on the ask, which really doesn't seem to be that much. I'm sure that there has to be more behind that, but that would be the next level ahead at least. All right, cool. Fausto's NAK trade. We're calling this out early on yesterday, pre-market, a little bit of a pop, unfortunately, dudded out pretty quick. Yeah, right now, pretty flat. Just kind of jumping around here. Any other familiar names I tend to see, I'll just gravitate towards. So like Glue, GLUU, we've traded the stock in the past and off of earnings and off of news. So nice pop early on today from 930 up to 982 high. And I have to say, I'll zoom in on the chart. It's been running up pretty nicely here so far, right? It's getting close to that high of the day also. So, you know what? I'll put this on here also. Kind of be near the middle, near the bottom, alongside MBRV, perhaps. Let's see, anything else? TRIL, TRIL. See, this one also, I mean, is this... Nah, not really. Okay. I was going to say, if this thing was starting to break near the highs of the day right now, I'd be upset. We were watching this early on in pre-market also, but that's right. We had a resistance at 7 here. Popped early on in pre-market, and then from there, just right after the open, tanked. All right. Let's see. I think that just about does it from the gainer side, guys. We'll hop over to the loser side. I see a bunch of comments across social media and across the trading room, of course. So let me expand the trading room chat here for right now. See from Daniel, Leo, Mark, Abdallah, and got you guys in just a second here. Nerf, NERV. It's funny. I missed out on this trade, and I guess that's not really funny. But, NERV, that was kind of disappointing, rather. I ended up missing out on a large part of this trade here. I saw Ben and Jerry chomping away at this trade going into the early afternoon. Ended up squeezing up nicely from 275, 280, all the way up towards 375, 380 from there. And, of course, as you can see now, running up much higher. So, and here we go. We got the man himself, Fausto, live in the chat in our trading room saying, I'm back in NERV. There we go. All right, Fausto, where are you in from? He's probably focused on the trade. I always do that to him. I'm going to let him focus. All right. So let's see this squeeze up higher right now. And for right now, certainly we'll put this on the top of our list for sure. NERV. Gotta love when a stock just tanks off of bad news, guys. Hey, yeah, I mean, sad for the company, but great for us day traders. Disaster creates great opportunity. So we've seen this before, and across like the last month, 2 months, even just on stocks like AMRN, Amarin, LK, Luckin Coffee, Saba. Those are 3 stocks right off the top of my head that come to mind that have been great bottom fish stocks. And NERV just joins the list here. Best part about this trade too, and of course, we're hoping that this runs up, especially with Fausto in it. Eventually, this stock will be shortable, or we hope for it to remain shortable. It is right now. So, if it ends up going the other way, that would be an opportunity. But of course, we're hoping to maintain this trend up going into the afternoon, perhaps Monday. If we keep this on our side list at least, and it remains shortable, then that could be a good opportunity as well to focus on. So, NERV, either way, we're going to remain focused on this here in the trading room. All right, I hope I didn't jinx that. All right, ARVN, big spread. I mean, nice pop, big pop here from 32 up towards 33 plus. We were calling out TGI earlier, another bottom fish stock. This one ended up dropping off pretty early, but continued to drop throughout the afternoon. So, for what it's worth right now, it's still trading some decent volume this time of the day, especially for a Friday, going into the weekend. It remains shortable, a bit of a spread at times, but, for right now, I keep this on the side, come back to this. If we have better opportunities, I'd rather trade that over this. So that's where I say I'll keep this like on the side, on the back burner. I'll come back to this perhaps in the next few minutes. MGNX, former huge runner that we had back a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and continued to run up. And again, this stock was shortable at the time, so it was a great short day a few times here, and I guess it was pretty early on this morning. I don't know. I say I guess again because I missed out on this, but for right now, it's pretty flat. I feel like this DXC trade. Let's see. Interesting. DXC technology. I don't know what happened here. Maybe bad earnings, but nevertheless, I mean, moving lower right now, lower highs, lower lows to a good degree in a nice channel. Tight spread, more volume on the order book. So you know what? This one's pretty good. That's where I say, I'll kind of look further, see if there's better opportunity. This DXC, at least for right now, appeals a lot more to me compared to that TGI. All right, so I think that just about does it. Let me know if there's anything else, guys, in the chat board or across social media. Actually, pardon me, maybe one more. JWN? Nah. All right. All right, got a lot to catch up on here in the chat board first, actually. So I want to get to some of these here. So Ben Shui, CHWY, worth watching. Nice new high here at least. It's up 5+%. Yeah, this one's pretty good. So, I'll put this on for right now. Chewy. From Daniel, NCLH. That's one I love. For right now, it remains just, a tradable stock. It's, a stock that will, I feel like, be on our side list for a long time to come, as it has been already. Hey, if you've been following NCLH, you've been doing well on this trade. And if this ends up moving nicely with the market going into the close, then stick with this. For right now, I'll kind of keep this on our quote-unquote side list, for the meantime. All right. From Abdallah here, Penn National Gaming. It's getting closer to the highs there, Abdallah. So, this appeals to me a bit more, perhaps, but again, we'll kind of keep this on the side as well. I'd say the same thing. If you're more of like a level 3 to 4 trader and above, I'd say, if you've been doing well on this trade, and if we end up seeing a squeeze up higher within the market, perhaps this would be a great setup to focus on off the 3250, 3275 perhaps, or 3280 actually, near the highs. Let's see. Yeah, all of these yellow prints right here, 3275. So that would be the price to watch there for a potential break higher. All right, what else do we have here, guys? I think that just about does it from Chuck. Snap finally breaking down, fingers crossed. Yeah, you were calling that out earlier too, and I said that was a good call out at the time. Yeah, I mean, it was a great call out at the time. It just took its sweet time to finally make this move down now, Chuck, didn't it? So, yeah, I mean, I'd say the same thing. Snap, tradable stock, especially. I was focused on this a lot more, of course, with, news across social media with Twitter and Facebook and, that executive order. I mean, Snap not, you know, directly affiliated or named, like Twitter and Facebook, but, affiliated, of course, they're in the same sector and they're in the same business, right? All right, guys. I think that just about does it, though. I don't see much else from social media, Facebook, YouTube, guys. I think you guys are good. And for all of our students here, like I posted just before, we'll look to continue and finish up the Phase 2 stock course coming up at 3:05 p.m. Eastern. So we already posted the link, guys. We'll post them and tweet the picks coming up here, of course, as well. Ben says Oxy cuts dividend. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, so Oxy came out with news and they're halted, right? It was kind of like a nice little short early on. We did well on this trade when it reopened up off the halt. It was kind of slow, so I didn't really think much of it when I came into this meeting. But off of the recent volume and off the news, that could be one to watch. It's getting close to 5. It's right at 5%. So you know what? I'll put this one on our list as well. I saw a bunch of pings on Benzinga Pro for UCO as well, crude oil. So perhaps we'll end up seeing some movement within the sector going into the afternoon, guys. And of course, Oxy with the news on that as well. 91% cut on dividends, says Pat. Yeah. So, for the news provided, I would have figured you'd see a lot more sell-off. We saw a bunch of selling at 13 and at 12.95. And from that point, we were seeing a bunch at 12.80, the most recent support where it ended up holding. If it ends up breaking lower or pulling back towards there, perhaps we'll see a sharper move going into the afternoon. What appealed to me on this trade, and again, this one will make our list, look at the daily chart. This thing's been like ready to drop off like a cliff for the last like 2 weeks. Lower highs, pulling back to that same, near support around 12.80, 12.75. So this thing's ready. So I hope that we end up seeing that move, Pat and Ben. And yeah, this one will end up making the cut. All right, guys. So all in all, we have 2, we have 4, 6, 8, 10. Not terrible for me. I think this entire week I've kept it simple. I've done a pretty good job myself. So I'll post and tweet the picks, guys. I'll post and tweet the link. And then aside from that, I'd just like to welcome one of our newest students to Cyber Trading University right before we finish up. Just before we finish up, guys, I'd like to just welcome aboard Jonathan P. From Everett, Massachusetts. Welcome aboard, Jonathan, to the CTU team here. All righty, perfect. So, guys, keep in mind with class in mind, and Jonathan, of course, and all of our new students as well. We are kind of finishing up more of an intermediate style class this afternoon. Phase 2 is the second installment of our 3-part course. So you'll have the chance to see Fausto, the man himself, trade the live market open and close. Going into next week, that'll be the Phase 3 stock course. But coming up, finishing up this afternoon, we do have Phase 2, our intermediate stock class, lined up this afternoon. So, hey, Jonathan, feel more than free to dip your feet in the water here and join us here live coming up this afternoon. But of course, as we had instructed just from last week, our Phase 1 stock course and of course all of our classes are posted online on your dashboard. We'll provide a nice blueprint for you to start off with as a newly enrolled student. So, we would strongly suggest for you to start right from the top, Phase 1, Lesson 1, and work your way down from there. All right, guys, for anyone streaming across social media that's a little bit more interested in what we offer here at Cyber Trading University, our live trading room, our live course room, make sure that you guys just call the phone number down below, and one of our education advisors will gladly pick up. A lot of talking this week, guys. Let's finish out the week strong here, guys. I look forward to seeing most of us here in class this afternoon. Take care.